Welcome back to Studio Chatter. One thing that is constant in our lives is change, and it's how we deal with the changes that makes us or breaks us. And one of our favorite guests knows the transitions we are faced with. Welcome, Connie Sokol, to the table.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be back.
We love you.
Thank you. I love you, ladies. It's like coming home. Like I feel like, okay, we need to do lunch here or something.
That would be fun.
Yes.
And whenever we have you, we always have so much content. So tonight we're going to have you.
Just overwhelm you.
Yes.
No. So
we're going to sit and absorb what
yeah,
she
we're
teaches
just gonna
us.
listen.
Yep.
No.
We're just going to focus on a couple because we could go so many different
Forever.
directions with you.
True.
Yes.
So let's start with some transitions. What are you seeing?
For women, specifically, I'm seeing transitions of these life shifts. So things that maybe they didn't expect or they didn't expect would be so hard. And one of the first ones that I'm hearing a lot from women is this transition into their fabulous 50s, which they don't think is so fabulous. Anybody there? Anyone there?
No.
Yeah,
I'm getting close.
No,
So
those
You're
two
like,
are.
no.
We are.
I'm not.
Is it fabulous?
It's so fabulous.
Okay.
I call it phase 2 because women don't understand. They tell me, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am anymore. My kids don't need me like they did, but they still need me. I don't know what I'm doing. And I say, worry not. Let us chat because I love the 50s. And the first thing I have to help them understand is embrace the shift. It's a shift and it's natural, it's normal, it's part of the package deal. So don't be afraid of it. They kind of feel like there's no real handbook out there, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing to still be a good mom and still be a good person fulfilling all these roles.
Right, I think because we're in transition between being a grandma, still being a mom.
Yes.
Where am I supposed to be on that
where do
spectrum?
I
Wear a
fit?
ponytail or cut my hair short like a grandma?
Exactly. Do I wear cute jeans or do I wear sensible shoes? Right?
So your mom jeans.
Big question.
Right? Mom jeans are kind of coming back in.
Right.
So you're kind of getting it away with both.
A little bit.
I see them shift the gears. That's what I talk about. I do the same thing. I go from a 7-year-old to a 14-year-old to the high school 16-year-old to my daughter who's on serving a church mission in France. And I shift the gears, and that same question comes up. So then who am I, right? Because these guys don't want you to be a regular mom, and these little ones need you every second, right? So the biggest thing I say is just embrace the shift and open yourself up to it. And then the second thing is don't hesitate to set those healthy boundaries. When we hit that fabulous 50s, first we have to sort of step back and go, let me kind of collect where I've been so I can start getting an idea of where I'm going. So I encourage women to say, what have I learned? What have I become? Who have I become? What have I done that I have loved in my life? Because so often they haven't sat down for 2 minutes.
Because a lot of times you're just giving at that point.
All
That's
the
phase
time.
one.
It's like
And then
sticking an
maybe
IV in it.
Right,
Yeah.
and I feel like phase 2, you almost feel guilty then maybe allowing yourself to have a little bit of time,
Yeah.
but then it's finding that balance.
Yes.
I think, between
Healthy
saying
boundaries.
Yes.
Yes.
And the healthy boundaries and that guilt I hear so often. In fact, some women are saying that I just talked with some empty nester women and saying, what's your tips on parenting? And I just did this for another thing. And one lady said, oh, I have so many women coming up to me saying, I had to get a job so I didn't have to deal with the babysitting the grandchildren issue. I went, what? Instead of having a candid conversation and figuring out a solution, they're like, I don't want to have to offend anybody. And I'm thinking, women, girl, go wash your face. Like, come on. It is this stage of life where we can be our bold self and we can say, love you, let's go to lunch. This is what this looks like for me. One lady gave a great suggestion. She said, I give my daughter 1 day a week. They chose a Tuesday. She said, I'm yours. From 9 to like 2.
Yeah.
And she said, if her daughter needs to get out of Dodge because she's exhausted, go, I've got the kids. If she wants her to clean, she cleans. If she just wants her to sit by her and chat while the kids play, that's what she does. And that's good for both of them. The daughter knows what to anticipate, the mom knows what she can give, and then she can still go live her life and enjoy those grandchildren she loves. But she knows those parents need that experience of raising their children themselves.
Because if we're wishy-washy, we're giving mixed signals.
We're
Like,
giving mixed
I don't
signals.
want to be with you or spend time
That's
with you.
right.
Really, I'm maybe a little exhausted and need some me time.
That's
so
right.
I think just
That's
setting
right.
it down.
Setting
Yep.
those healthy boundaries and not feeling guilty about it. You have raised those children and you have done that beautiful job, and they need that experience too. So know it's for their betterment. And it's you setting that boundary, you sitting down and saying, I love you so much that I'm going to let you have that experience, and this is what will work for me. These are big girl conversations.
Yeah,
Another
that is.
hard one I think would be is, let's say you're at home as a grandma, the mom's at home as a mom, and she just wants to come hang out with you all day. Because
You're still wanting
saying
your alone
I
time.
Make
can,
yourself
Get things
absent.
done.
yeah,
So where you feel like you got to drive around the block?
yeah,
or
you can
something?
say I can only watch your little one on Tuesday, but let's say someone just wants to come and hang out,
Right, right.
and then that's a tough conversation. Like, hi,
I love you.
only come over.
Yes, but I've got an hour and a half.
That is one of the things that I appreciate about you so much when you come and give us these words of wisdom. One of the wisest things you ever said to us was, we're not in that season.
Yes.
Give them the chocolate, put a Band-Aid on it, whatever. We're not in that we're not in that season. We're not in that stage of the game doing something else.
Perfect.
Sorry.
And that, oh, I love it. And being able to just say, that doesn't work for me. You know I love you, but that doesn't work for me right now.
I know. You need to write a book on wise tidbits.
I have a program on that. Seriously, it's so true. Women just need to have some.
I don't even have healthy boundaries.
Women just need some of these skill sets and these tools, and we think we should know it. We think we should have it, but we don't until we're there. And then we just need a little bit of mentoring and guidance to say, here's some ways to handle that. And it's not just our children. It's I get from women. He's retired and he's driving me nuts. He follows me around the house all day long. So this brings us to the next thing. Well, then what do you want? Because it's like sand castle. You make the hole in the sand and the water's going to come in and fill it. So if you create that space and say, I'm available these times, but not these times, what are you going to do with it? And that's where I help women write a life vision. Get that vision in their mind of who am I and what do I want? And saying those very things. I am blah, blah, blah. Purpose-driven, organized, capable, creative, joyful, whatever. I am, and I want to. Making your bucket list and not feeling guilty for it. Women, I have the hardest time trying to help them see they have done all of these beautiful things for so many years. They've got life wisdom and experience and knowledge. And they say, well, I've been a stay-at-home mom. I don't really know what I do. I don't do much. I'm like, aha, let's go back through. You've organized events. You've run a house of 5 children. You've been able to get people here and there. You know all about dance and philosophy and all of these different things. You have all of this great stuff. What do you want to do? Yeah. And now they have to take ownership, and that's a scary thing because they're thinking, wow. And if they get pushback from a spouse or children, then it makes it even harder. So that's why a support group is super, super important, because women in their 50s need that, just that nudge, just like that. Some tips, some tools to be able to go, okay, I had that conversation, and everyone go, yay! That's right. It doesn't work for me. It's almost, she said it. And that's how it works when we are the moms. Remember, we have to be that influence. We have to be that example. Our kids are watching and taking our cues, and you know, they're velociraptors. They're going to poke that mom fence of where can I find a weakness, right? So I can get what I want.
There's a lot of weaknesses.
Yes.
Yep. Well, so I have to be reminded of that constantly. Like, wait, I'm the mom. No,
that's right.
Wait, I can say no, and
right.
it's okay. It's not being mean.
That's right.
It's creating boundaries sometimes.
Creating a healthy boundary, and have to remind yourself this is a benefit to them in the long run, and say that to them.
And to ourselves.
Yeah, I always say building character. I'm just helping me build character.
Okay, there's another building character.
We're going to put this on a vinyl on the wall.
I know.
So think about that for yourselves. Being able to get clear about what is it that I really want, and then taking a bold step. And for some women, I'm talking to them and they're like, okay, I can't go do a big class, but I can paint the family room. All right. Yeah. That's a great bold step. Anything you can do to refresh and renew and to see things through a new lens is so vital. We did that in our home. We changed out the comforters and the pillowcases, and we painted a nice pediment gray, refreshed everything, and it just gave this lift, everything like that. So consider some of the steps that you can take and just step outside that comfort zone. Some of these women, one woman I was working with, I do programs for women, and one woman I was working with, she came to me and she's like, I need to make money. I've been working our whole marriage. I need to keep making money, but I'm feeling so like this rumble. And I said, I know, I got you. So you got this rumble, you got this thing that means you're not in alignment. So let's get aligned. So we went through that, create a life plan, and be able to get her purpose statement and all of that stuff, and she could feel it. She said, I need to do something meaningful. So she was in a certain industry, and she said, I don't need to skip industries. I can just go teach women in these industries, this industry, about more personal development. Well, she started doing that, and she was loving it, loving it. But then she came back, and she was getting pushback from her husband of, you've always done it this way, so I need you to keep doing it this way, and I'm scared that we're not going to have the money that we've always had, right? But there's no one else living at home. So it was a shift for him and a shift for her. She had to be her bold self. That's another one. I say, be your bold self. Get aligned and then be your bold self. And so she had to be her bold self, and she went to him and said, this is how I'm feeling. I'm shifting, and I don't want you to be afraid. Even though inside she's like, she said, I don't want you to be afraid, but things are shifting and it's okay. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen and how it's going to bless and benefit our relationship. And it has. And now she wants to write a book. She has this message she knows she wants to share, and she's doing things she didn't think she could do.
Wow.
So
because we should find joy in this life. Sometimes as a mom, we give up some of that for
Yes.
ourselves to make everyone happy or to make the family work.
Yes.
But it isn't a time to really be selfish, but I think it's a time that we can focus a little bit more on ourselves.
It's an absolute need for self-care. I talk about the mom pie. Everybody gets a slice, including you. And it doesn't mean we're at the spa all day. Well, maybe once in a while. But you're at the spa all day, right? It's not. What that means is that you are staying with that energy and you are teaching your children balance. No, I'm pausing for joy. I love you. I'm taking 15 minutes for joy. Go help yourself in the fridge, right? This is what we need to teach them. And guess what? As women make that move, as they become the example, men and small children don't know how to do this necessarily until they see it in action. And then they go, oh, that's what that looks like. One woman came to me and she said, now that the kids have left the home, I can see really clearly the negative patterns my husband and I have in our communication and the way that people treat me. I can see it very clearly. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do about that? And so we went through some exercises to see what she could do and some phrases she could say. And this was scary. I mean, she was scared out of her mind to start shifting the way they're talking. And her husband, good man, but old school, right? Sit in the recliner, bring me my dinner. So she has this conversation with him a few times and shares with him some of the things she'd like to see done differently and what she's willing to do differently. Well, one day they're having this conversation and he gets triggered, turns around and leaves the room. And a few minutes later, he comes back in and he looks at her and he says, I'm doing that thing you talked about. I'm sorry. Wow. First time in years, it's shifted their whole relationship. She went from being so scared and thinking, I don't know that I can stay in this relationship, to she is smiling when we're on our coach calls, she's laughing, and now she's setting healthy boundaries when they've had family get-togethers and old patterns are surfacing with people that are negative, and she's stopping them. She's changing the legacy, and that's what we do as women. And in this fabulous 50s, our brain shifts, our mind and soul shifts, we need to shift with it. And as we do, guess what happens? We give our family opportunity and choice to shift too. It's a thing of beauty.
Hold your thoughts right there. We're going to be shifting and coming back to our next segment. Coming up next, Connie will stay with us and talk about dealing with breakups and our relationships. Stay with us for more.